class?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so today we are going to talk about building characters. So if you remember, I told you yesterday that we were going to start building a story. So you're going to get to write your very own story, just like the ones that you like to read.
Ooh.
And so yesterday we made the plot up for that story. Do y'all remember doing that?
Yes.
And we talked about all the elements of a plot.
Mm-hmm.
And a setting, too. Do you remember what a setting is? Raise your hand if you remember. Cody?
Where the story takes place.
When and where. That's so good. Good job. Okay. And then remember, we also have, in our plot, we have an introduction, and then it goes into the rising action, and the climax. What's the climax? Who remembers?
The climax is where all of the conflicts in the story, come to a head.
Yeah, you're right. And then we have the falling action, and then the conclusion. All right, and so today we are going to build characters for our story since we already have our plot. But first we're going to talk a little bit about what characters are.
Okay.
And so I have a little activity for you all to do.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're reading a story and the character is just, there's not really anything about them, they're just like, they just do things and it's random and all they have is a name. Like, are they going to be very interesting?
No.
So we have to work to make our characters interesting by giving them different traits and giving them ways that they look so that we can know how they are. So I'm going to pass out this worksheet. Here, let me show it. Here's the worksheet. Okay. So you're going to write your name and date on the top, and then what I want you to do is focus on this first box at the top. So once you get it, and after your name and date are on it, you are going to write down 3 things that would describe you. It can be how you look, it can be your personality, or anything about you.
Describe me?
Yeah, to describe yourself.
Okay. What's the date today? So the 25th?
25th. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you're finished. All right, it looks like everyone is finished. So now what I want you to do is everybody's going to stand up. So get up out of your seats. Okay, and you are going to take your worksheet and you're going to go find 2 other people and you're going to ask about characteristics that they wrote down for themselves and you're going to write it down on your paper.
Okay.
Well, you can write down what they wrote for themselves or you can ask them about things that are different. So if you could write down their hair color, their eye color, or you could ask things that they like to do. So, but you're going to write down 3 characteristics for 2 other people. So go find 2 other partners.
Okay. Do you want to be my partner?
I would love to be your partner.
Okay, thank you, Miss Courtney. I'll put your name here.
Yep, put my name on. Yep, you'll put your partner's name at the top and then write down 3 characteristics.
What's your 3 characteristics? What's your favorite food?
Chocolate is my favorite food.
Okay. What do you like to do when you're bored?
I like to play games.
Okay.
I like to play with bunnies.
That was one of mine. I like playing games.
What?
Yeah. What do you think is your most prominent physical characteristic?
Prominent?
I put tall. It's the first thing people notice when they see me, because I'm tall.
I'm not tall.
You're short?
No.
You're not short.
I'm average.
Okay. Okay, average height.
Okay.
Okay. Now I need a 3rd person.
Mr. Squiggles.
Mr. Squiggles. It's a bunny. Alright, Mr. Squiggles. What is the first thing people notice when they see you? Okay, floppy ears. Favorite thing to do when you're bored? Play with people's feet.
Bite people's feet.
And don't run away. I'm interviewing you. What's your favorite thing to eat?
I know what it is.
What is it?
Apples.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Swizzle, for cooperating.
He just stomped at you once. Okay. So, great job, everyone.
Thanks, Miss Courtney.
Does somebody want to tell me something you found out about someone else that maybe you didn't know before? Cody?
I didn't know Mr. Swiggle's favorite food was apples.
That's great. So you learned something new about him.
I
So
did.
if he was a character in a story, that would make him more interesting that he likes apples.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now I have a PowerPoint we're going to go through really quick.
Okay.
Okay. So characterization, which is just building characters and giving them their own traits and features. So, what is characterization? It is how a character is described in a story. So, does somebody want to read off what the different ways we can characterize people are?
Well, I'll do it. It's traits, motivations, actions, feelings, and how all of these things affect the plot.
Yeah, so the way that, or the characteristics that we give our characters, they will affect the things that they do. Mm-hmm. So we have to remember that while we're doing the story, that the way we characterize our characters will affect the plot in the way we want them to. So why is it important? Does anybody have any ideas before we read the slide of why it might be important?
No.
Well, we've already said it makes our characters more interesting, but also it helps us connect to the characters because we might have similar traits to them, and it shows us how we can expect the characters to act, since like we said before, you know, if we know Mr. Squiggles likes apples and there's apples, we know he might want to eat one.
Yeah.
So that'll impact how the story goes. All right, so I have an example for identifying some characteristics. So this says, it's time for Lucy to get ready for school. She brushed her long red hair and put on her favorite blue dress. Then she ate breakfast. Lucy eats oatmeal and fruit for breakfast every single day because it is her favorite. She feels happy because she gets to wear her favorite dress and eat her favorite breakfast. Today is going to be a good day, she thinks to herself as she steps onto the school bus. And so I found some different characteristics in here. So we know she has long red hair and that she's wearing a blue dress. And another way we can characterize something is if they have something that they always do, like an action. So she eats oatmeal and fruit every day for breakfast. Even though that's not necessarily like a personality trait or a physical trait, that's still something that characterizes her. She feels happy. And I also said, she said, today's going to be a good day. And so I said that I inferred that she's optimistic. What does inferring mean?
Making like an educated guess.
Yeah, kind of reading between the lines, using what it tells you, and figuring out what that means. Okay, so I have some practice for you. I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to ask you to help me characterize the character and figure out what he's like. So, Stephen yawned. He had a nightmare last night and was feeling very tired today. Stephen could not wait to get home and take a nap. When he finally got home, his mother asked him to watch his little brother while she cleaned the house. He really wanted to take a nap, but he helped his mom instead. Even though he wasn't happy about it at first, it ended up being a lot of fun. Stephen was glad that he got to spend time with his brother, and he was so happy that when he went to bed, he didn't think about his nightmares and got a good night's sleep. So, can you all tell me some characteristics of Stephen?
He's tired.
He's tired. That's right. Any more ideas?
He's responsible.
He's responsible. He does what his mother tells him to do. That might also tell us that he's caring.
He has a brother.
Yeah, that was really great. Okay, so that is the end of our PowerPoint. So our next activity is you all are each going to get a story. So we're all going to be reading from Frog and Toad Are Friends.
Ooh.
But there's a lot of different stories in here. So each group's going to have a different one. So group 1, you'll have story number 1.
Okay.
So I need you to get out your journals, your writing journals. Well, actually, one person in each group is going to be the writer and get out that person. You'll get out your journal.
Okay.
Journal. I'm saying it weird. Yes. And so what you're going to do is you're going to read the story, and I want you to find at least 3 personality traits and at least 3 physical traits. And you may have to infer these and use the pictures. But before you start, I have a rubric for you all. So here's the rubric. And I'm going to pass this out, and I want you to just pay attention to it while you are doing this. So, in order to get happy face on everything, I need you all to identify 3 physical characteristics of a character, identify 3 personality traits of a character. I need everyone in your group to participate, and I need you all to work together and not argue.
Okay.
So here is your rubric.
Did you hear that, Susan?
Be nice, Cody.
So
Okay.
this is all just one character?
Alright, give me a thumbs up if your group is all the way finished. Alright, I need you to pick someone out of your group, and that person is going to stand up and share with the class the 3 physical traits and 3 personality traits that you found.
Okay.
So let's have group 1. You all go first.
Okay, Susan. All right. So, in our story, it's called Spring. I just
I
gotta
like
give
that
them
one.
the characteristics.
Mm-hmm.
Frog, we picked a characterized frog. He wears a brown coat. He has green skin, and he's physically fit because he's running all over the place in the story.
That was a good inference you made. I like that.
Mm-hmm. The personality, he likes spring.
Mm-hmm.
He's friends with Toad, and he's pushy because he makes Toad get up and go outside, even though Toad doesn't want to.
Yeah.
He's a very forceful personality.
Well, thank you very much. Group 1, you did a great job.
Yes.
Okay, so, alright, we have one last activity, and I think you all are going to think this one is really fun. So we are going to make the characters for your storybooks now. So I will pass out your rubrics first. And this is a checklist, and it says, did I, ... So that means once you do these things, you're going to go through and check it off your checklist, okay? And this will make sure you do super well. So what you need to do is complete every box on the worksheet. Use your time wisely, write neatly, work hard and do your best, and then write down at least 3 physical traits and 3 personality traits of your character, and use your rubric. That's your last one. It's kind of like a free space, just to make sure you're actually using it.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going to get this worksheet, and you're going to write your name and date on it, and it's got a whole bunch of boxes, and it says characterization at the top. So you're going to pick one of the characters from your story. I know some of you have multiple characters in your story, but pick one main character. And in the first box, you're going to write the character's name. The second box here, you're going to write the age and where your character is from. And those may not be things you've thought of yet, but this worksheet is just going to help us make our characters a lot more interesting and give them a lot more information. Then you will write down the appearance right here in this box. And you can also draw a picture, but I still want you to write down at least 3 things in this box. And if you need help either drawing the picture or getting ideas, you are welcome to get on the iPads and go to kitty.co like we usually do, or kiddle.co, sorry, and look up images on there. You have personality traits, so you'll write down at least 3. And then here, we have 3 more boxes right here. And these are kind of fun. You all know I like to play Dungeons and Dragons, and so it's kind of inspired by that. But I think they are really good things that will help your characters be a lot better and a lot more interesting, a lot more relatable. So ideals. Does anyone know what ideals are?
It's like, what does this person or character or whatever, what do they care about? Like, what do they aspire to?
Exactly. Kind of like their values, what their values are. So you'll write their values in here in the ideals place. Bonds. What do you think a bond is?
It's like a relationship with a person, place, or thing.
That's right. So you'll write down a special relationship to your character. And lastly, flaws. I think everyone knows what flaws are. You'll write something down that is something that in your story, it will make it a lot more interesting if your character has a flaw. So that might be a character that loves sweets. And so every time they see sweets, they have to stop and eat them. So that would make your story a lot different and more interesting because that can make a problem or a conflict in your story. And then I have a space for other, just in case you think of anything that you want to add. And this is the only box you don't have to fill out if you don't have anything. But I wanted to make sure you had a place if you had other stuff you wanted to put.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you some time. You can work on your character sheet. And then, and you'll have more time after class to do this if you don't get finished. We can work on it again at the end of the day.
Okay.
Okay.
Hard, I did my best.
Give me a thumbs up if you're finished. Alright. Oh, you're finished?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's finished? Alright, wonderful. Would anyone like to share your character sheet?
I will.
Okay, Cody.
Okay, do you share everything on it?
You don't have to read everything, but just give us some of the highlights about your character.
Okay, his name is Miran Sar. He's about 20 years old. He's from the village of Fandolin. His personality traits is very charismatic, but he also has a really strong ego. And he is kind of an emotional decision maker. He acts from the heart, not with his head, most of the time. Appearance-wise, he has long, straight black hair. He has a cape made out of silver dragon scales, and he's super pale. As far as ideals, he likes people to like him. He wants to be a likable guy. He wants to be friends with everybody. Bonds with his dragon friend Glycera and his adventuring party. And his flaws, he makes rash decisions and he has kind of a fragile ego.
So you said his adventuring party. Are you making like an adventure book? Is your plot about an adventure?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds very interesting. I'm sure everyone is excited to read it whenever we publish our books at the end and we can check out each other's books.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.